Hey everyone, welcome to CW Live. Chris Webb here with Dave Ward, General Secretary. How you doing, Dave? You good?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit about three things really: the Royal Mail strike, the BT strike, and then our RMPFS members also joining the strike for the first time today. So I'm going to take you in this subject, and there. First of all, Royal Mail. So we had a great session last night with Andy Fury, acting DGSP, like thousands of people online. I mean, the early indications from the picket lines we can see is that the support is bigger than ever. I mean, some phenomenal, obviously, once again, to reiterate, there aren't 6 people legally on the picket line. The rest of all our members are supporters, observers, etc. But like standing turnouts, it seems like once again, the company's sort of intimidation tactics have spectacularly backfired on them.
Yeah, I think our members saw through the announcement the Royal made last Friday. I think they recognised that there's no justification for 10,000 job losses. When we met the company on Monday, they couldn't explain how they were going to go about that. And it was done as purely a vindictive move because the support has been so strong. And the only way that they can justify it is if we accept their business plan. It's interesting that in the most recent exchange of correspondence, Simon Thompson has decided to move away from negotiations himself. And that's because he knows that his plan is exposed. And what we're not going to do is fall into a trap about talking about their so-called change agenda, rather than actually talking about the wider plan that is going to destroy Royal Mail, destroy the members' jobs way beyond 10,000. We're not accepting 10,000. But we all know, and our members have seen through that. And that's why today, I think it's a great testimony to the spirit of our members, strength of our members, that despite that intimidation, probably, the biggest attack, I've described it as P&O style attack on steroids, which is what it is, that our members have turned out in even greater numbers. So fair play to them. We knew they would. We knew they'd see through Thompson. And we are putting massive pressure now on the company to change that plan.
Well, just looking at the comments, David, if you can see some of them, constant theme, great turnout, biggest turnout yet from the members. So, that's spectacular support. I mean, I suppose when we're looking at someone like Simon Thompson, and you and Andy were saying last night, there's clearly an individual here for whatever reason is hell-bent on avoiding the truth. And one of the truths is that he's losing this dispute and he has lost workforce. Surely there has to be, in that hierarchy of Royal Mail, whether it's board level, whether it's senior shareholder level, people looking at this and saying, like, the postal workers are not breaking, the picket lines are getting bigger, they're getting stronger, the support's getting stronger. Like, either Thompson has to go or we need to force Thompson to act differently. Surely that narrative must be somewhere. There must be some decent, normal people in that hierarchy who can see what's going on
here. There must be, you would hope. But what I would say is that I don't think Simon Thompson is going to change. I personally don't think that he's capable of changing now. I think he's set out. Still, for him, this is not just about what happens to the business and whether his plan can be forced through. It's also about trying to break the union, the people that actually defend our members. And our members have worked that one out as well. I don't see no future for Simon Thompson in the company. I think there's got to be people on the board. When we put together our note to the board, our letter to the board, setting out all of what we see as the future, when we talk to shareholders in the company, I think you're going to see that they're going to struggle not to agree with some of the things that we're saying. So, I mean, look, that's for him. He's chose to behave that way. It's wrong. You would hope that there are some sensible voices in the company. I think there's a few that have been around a while who get this, and I've seen signs of that, and we met one or two of them on Monday. But I also think there's 3 or 4 that Simon Thompson has surrounded himself, who he's brought in, who are nothing covered than union busters, and that's their job, and we'll see them off as well.
Class, Dave. So I want to switch over to, by the way, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of picket line photos, videos, stuff going up. So interviews with Dave on BBC Breakfast and other media outlets, all on our pages. So make sure you check that out, and we'll be putting more articles up in the coming sort of hours today. I want to switch to our Openreach and BT members again. We had a really good live session. You were travelling down, so we couldn't make it, but we had it with Andy Kerr and Karen Rose, I think the night before last, which was excellent. And a reoccurring theme similar to the Royal Mail, where branches today are saying that picket lines have gone up again and support's gone up. Like, you know, it's a fantastic feeling. And you know, the union set out a planned potential rebal at the shareholders meeting, bringing me back into the force, like the cavalry coming over the hill, putting more pressure on the company, announcing a strike fund to support workers who are desperate to be able to come out on strike and support the union. Another case of our members, you know, showing up brilliantly for the union and applying maximum pressure to the company.
Well, I've got to say, you know, the guys, I went down to the BT Openreach picket line just outside Brighton earlier on this morning after we did the rally, and great turnout there from our members. Really good to talk to our members, got a great vibe and feeling on where they are. They've worked it all out again. I don't think people are up for ever giving in to the sort of levels of hypocrisy, greed that they're seeing from Philip Jansen. They don't want to do that. Yes, there may be people struggling, but we're bringing that strike fund in just before we went on air, Chris, as you know. We've got now the green light to set that up, so we're looking for donations towards that. And all our members that are on strike at the moment, we're hoping that we can find some way of supporting you as these disputes continue. But the vibe I had down there was that they realised that what's at stake here is the whole future of their jobs, their time in BT, their pay. And I think people know that you cannot have a CEO who's acting in this way, where you just hand money over to shareholders, you prioritise them in front of workers, you take a massive increase of 32% yourself, and then you impose, not negotiate, a settlement on workers that is effectively 4.8 on average over 2 years, because our members, although they got a lump sum last year, they didn't get a consolidated pay rise. And I do believe Andy Kerr, Karen Rose, we were talking to the members down on the BT picket line in Brighton earlier on, and we know that the pressure's ratcheting up now on BT. Their share price is falling through the floor. That will worry them. And this meeting we've got on Monday with the shareholders that we've organised separately, where we're going to address the shareholders, the major shareholders of BT, and we're bringing frontline workers onto that meeting to participate in that. This will have an impact on them, and they will be worried about what we're going to say, and we'll be laying it out very clearly that no company can be successful if it continues to treat workers with utter contempt by even refusing to negotiate. So we don't believe that's a sustainable position, and we believe that in the next week or so, Monday's strike is obviously crucial, that you're out again in large numbers on Monday. We've got the shareholder meeting Monday, and there are one or two signs from third parties that the company are feeling it now. We're hearing that. So let's see what develops over the next week or so. But as you said, we've also got other plans now to rejuvenate that dispute, open up other fronts, and we're going to continue until we get the deal that our members deserve.
Spot on, Dave. I want to talk about our Royal Mail Property Facility Services members. Small group of really loyal and excellent engineers, a bigger group of cleaners. You know, I think of the cleaners, and the engineers, but the cleaners in particular with COVID, you know, when offices were shut down and they were the ones who had to go in and clean them and make them safe, putting themselves at risk. And the reward from the company, much like Openreach, BT, Royal Mail, Post Office, same story, Network Rail, what was teachers, what we're seeing elsewhere, NHS. Their reward basically is a measly pay offer, which is a huge real-term pay cut, and just get on with it. Well, they're not getting on with it, they're fighting back. So a word today for our cleaning and engineering members who joined the strike for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic that they're all out there today on strike. Sometimes you can feel when you're in a smaller group of workers that you're a little bit isolated. It can be very daunting to join strike action, to take part in strike action when perhaps the numbers are not the same. But what I say to our members there, you know, your case, you wouldn't have voted so overwhelmingly for these strikes if you didn't know that you're being treated terribly with contempt as well, and you're not alone. That's the whole point of a trade union. The solidarity comes from every part of the trade union today to get behind our members who are out on strike. I have fond memories of working with our cleaners when I was working as a postal worker back at Tooting. Some of my greatest relationships in terms of friends were some of the cleaning guys who used to work there. They were so good. We used to have great banter. We used to help each other, and we always looked after them. And in them days it was slightly different because they were working directly for Royal Mail, and we would never do things like Christmas settlements on the working hours for the posties if we didn't also get a deal for the cleaners. And we're out there behind all of you, the engineers, the cleaners. Great to have you part of these disputes. And once again, we're here to get you the deal that you deserve, and we will.
Thank you, Dave. I want to talk about we're here. So in the context of what we were just discussing, we are here in Brighton, as you said. A fantastic rally this morning, wasn't it? It was stunning.
Very good.
And in support for the trade union movement, yourself, Mick Lynch, RMC, Kevin Courtney, National Education Union, Joe Grady, University Lecturers Union, Mark Swatka from PCS, Gary Smith from the GMB. I don't want to leave anyone out. I think I've covered them all, and our own speakers as well.
Francis O'Grady?
Oh, I didn't say Francis,
yeah.
the main woman, obviously the General Secretary of the TUC. Huge support. We're down here at the TUC.
Yeah.
We've had, obviously, you've been busy doing lots of things. Tony Kearns, our Senior Deputy General Secretary, moved our emergency motion on Royal Mail, got a massive standing ovation. He moved it excellently. I want to know, and all of our delegates, as well as all the business we're doing on picket lines and strikes, have represented the union on a variety of workplace issues really, really effectively this week. So a word really on why it's important we're here, why it's important we gain the solidarity of the movement, and on our delegation, really.
Yeah, so why it's important we're here is because this is the week where trade unions gather. This is the week where we talk about the policies, the strategies on how we mobilise all working people. And I'm a very strong believer, and the CWU has led many of these debates in recent years about, you've got to connect the disputes, you've got to connect the issues, you've got to connect your industrial agendas with the wider agendas that are creating some of the problems in our own unions and in our own workplaces. And the more you do that, the stronger you become. So what you take from coming to somewhere like the TUC is you hear some fantastic debates. You hear other workers telling you about the challenges that they face and how they're trying to overcome those challenges. And that's when you make the connections. And what it's really about is building our collective strength as a trade union movement. And I, believe that it is time for the union movement. You have to deal with your individual disputes. We're not in this place where people think that like somehow we're using our members for a wider political aim. Never that. You always have to deal with the reality of the dispute that our members have voted for. But you also have to be honest with the members that solidarity and collective strength and action that sometimes gets coordinated builds confidence, builds pressure on all employers, and it creates the circumstances for change. And that's what we've been playing a full part on here this week. I wasn't able to get down and go as I would have been normally, sort of leading the delegation, but I managed to get here today just after the disputes and visiting the 2 picket lines this morning and make a contribution thanking people for how many of them turned out for our members today in solidarity and showed that solidarity and made a contribution about how we need to modernise, dare I say it, the TUC.
Not in that way, though. Not in
the way that Mr. Thompson and Mr. Jansen and other bosses around the UK would want to use that word, because they use it completely in a way that's out of order, because he's always levelling down, always the race to the bottom. Now, we're talking about how we turn the trade union movement into the real force that can change things in this country. And we don't believe you just wait for political change. We believe you have to deal with change yourselves, and that the trade union movement at the moment is in a great place. I mean, I think I've never known so many ballots going on because all workers are facing very similar struggles. And you gain confidence when you hear, and other workers gain confidence from the fact that our members are out there. And that was what our rally was about today. That was what people were saying. Our postie members, our BT members who heard that rally, they will gain confidence from seeing really strong trade union leaders in the UK, offering their support, saying that they are getting inspiration from what our members are doing. And yeah, there was an interesting moment earlier where on the rally, me and Mick Lynch was interviewed together on an interview that was. Mick was responding to, I couldn't hear what was being said in the studio, but something about the new legislation.
Yeah, minimum service levels. Yeah,
that's just outrageous. You attack the people who are trying to defend working people today. I think I was more on our disputes, but I did manage to say, they keep saying we're all militants. Work to describe working class people who stand up and have stood up for their fellow work colleagues, for their members, as militants is just unacceptable, because the militants today are these bosses that haven't got a clue how to run a company other than you break it up and you give money to shareholders and you look after yourself as the CEO and all of the board members. That's what's wrong in Britain today. We're actually working for the country. They're working against it.
One final thing, Dave, just popped in my head. We had the rally, as you said, at Brighton office today. Obviously, a location we chose because it was near to TUC Congress. We could get the great speakers there. I noticed at the start of the rally, I don't know if you were busy with the BBC there, that some of the managers were hovering with big cameras and taking photos, and we got to report this to Simon Thompson. There's more than 6 on the picket line. Despite the fact we consecutively explained it's not a picket line, this is a rally, this is a solidarity event. Even I think the police came, and I think maybe the management thought we were a little bit amateurish and didn't realise we'd already contacted the police. We'd already spoken to the council. The police were fully aware that it was a rally. The police actually stopped the road and closed the road for us, didn't they? And it couldn't have been more friendlier. I won't stitch the policeman up, but he did give some words of solidarity to us as well, and some interesting words about Simon Thompson, but we won't reveal them. But one of the things that struck me from that is, again, rather than concentrate on resolving the dispute, they are going around like decent working people who are just coming together to hear from union leaders, to have a bit of solidarity, going, oh, can we catch them out? Can we take a few photos? Can we make a pathetic little legal case? And we've got reps suspended, Dave. We've got members suspended for nothingness, just for showing solidarity, I suppose. So my final thing would be to make sure, for you to give that pledge that the union's going to look after these people. But also, I suppose, in a reiteration that, we need to keep our cool, we need to do things the right way, we need to be, lawful on the picket lines.
Look, we've explained on so many occasions, and we've sent out letters, and our members are observing those letters. It's 6 on the picket line, but you're allowed to have supporters and gather around that and show your support. And the rally today, as you said, it was a rally that we'd actually already prior contacted the police, prior contacted the council. So we were able to do that in an orderly way. And the police played their part in actually making that work. The people who didn't like it was, of course, the managers in Royal Mail who were there, who probably couldn't believe that many people would come out in support of striking workers. So, my message in particular to our reps, to our members, yes, stay disciplined. It's always important that we maintain our discipline. But can I also say to you, we recognise and we know that there are people out there at the moment being fitted up by managers under the instructions of the leadership of Royal Mail in particular. I'm sure some of that going on in BT, to try and do our reps under spurious charges. And we will not settle these disputes until we've also settled those cases of where they are fitting up our reps purely because of their commitment to supporting other workers. And all members need to recognise that if your rep has been one of those reps that's been suspended or fitted up, then you need to hold us to account to make sure that we look after those reps as well, and that you look after your reps, because they do a fantastic job. The reps, they're volunteers, and they believe in what they do. And a big shout out to all of them and all our members today who supported the union once again.
Thanks, Dave Class. So Dave's off to do more work on the disputes. I'm off to do more work on the disputes. Keep supporting everyone. If you're on a picket line, well done. If you're not, get home, get yourself dry. It's been a rough old day, isn't it? But fantastic support. And we'll see BT and Openreach members Monday on the picket line. We'll see Royal Mail group or RMPFS on Tuesday. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.